You probably believe you are a free-thinking, highly conscious individual in total control of your life. You think you make rational decisions, analyze your environment, and steer your own ship. But the brutal, uncomfortable truth is this. For about 95% of your day, you are essentially a meat zombie. You do not make choices. You do not actually think. The you that you are so incredibly proud of, your conscious mind, the voice inside your head, is actually a lazy, incompetent freeloader. It takes all the credit for the heavy lifting done by a biological supercomputer that you have absolutely zero conscious control over. You don't believe me? You think you're the exception? Let's prove it right now. Imagine you walk into a store. You want to buy a toy bat and a toy ball. Together, the bat and the ball cost exactly $1.10. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? If you are like the overwhelming majority of human beings, your brain immediately screamed, 10 cents. And you felt pretty good about it. It feels right. It is also entirely, embarrassingly wrong. Think about it. If the ball costs 10 cents and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, the bat would cost $1.10. Add them together and your total is $1.20. The correct answer is 5 cents. 5 cents for the ball, $1.05 for the bat. Total, $1.10. You are not stupid. You know basic arithmetic. If I had asked you to explicitly check your math, you would have found the error instantly. But you didn't check? Why? Because the fundamental, underlying operating principle of your brain is profound laziness. Your brain is physically allergic to effort. It will do whatever it takes to avoid actual thinking. To understand why you fail at such a simple task, we have to split your brain into two distinct characters. Let's call them the machine and the ghost. The ghost is who you think you are. It is your conscious mind. It is the voice reading this script, the part of you that sets goals, follows instructions, and does complex math. The ghost is incredibly smart, capable of catching errors and planning for the future, but the ghost has a fatal flaw. It is impossibly, unbelievably lazy. It takes a massive amount of physical energy to wake the ghost up and force it to work. Furthermore, the ghost is incredibly slow. Then we have the machine. The machine operates entirely in the shadows. It is your subconscious, your autopilot. The machine is unbelievably fast, processing millions of bits of sensory data every single second. It manages your breathing, interprets light hitting your retinas, filters out background noise, and makes thousands of assumptions to keep you alive. When you look at a word, you don't choose to read it. The ghost doesn't meticulously decode the letters. The machine automatically reads it and shoves the meaning into your conscious awareness before you can even blink. The machine is a library of every experience, habit, and shortcut you have ever formed. But the machine cannot do logic. It only does patterns. So when I asked you the bat and ball question, the machine saw $1.10 and $1, and it instantly spotted a pattern. It separated the dollar and the 10 cents, handed the 10 cents to the ghost, and whispered, "Here's the answer, don't worry about checking it." And the ghost, being the ultimate lazy freeloader, said, "Sounds good to me," and went back to sleep. Your entire day is dictated by this dynamic. The ghost lives in a highly restricted space called working memory. Working memory is pathetic. It can only hold about 4 or 5 new pieces of information at a time. If I give you a random string of numbers, say 7, 1, 0, 2, Your ghost has to juggle them furiously just to stop them from falling out of your head. But if I ask you to reverse those numbers into 2017, suddenly it's not 4 items anymore. It's a single concept: a year. This process is called chunking. The ultimate goal of human learning is just the ghost packing information into tightly sealed boxes, chunks, and tossing them down into the basement for the machine to handle automatically. When you first learned to drive or ride a bike or tie your shoes, the ghost was fully awake. You had to focus on every tiny movement. It was exhausting, but once you repeated it enough times, you built a chunk. You handed it off to the machine. Now you can drive 30 miles down a highway, completely lost in thought, and suddenly realize you don't remember the last 20 minutes of your commute. The machine was driving the car. You, the conscious ghost, were basically dead to the world. And this leads us to a fascinating biological reality. Actual thinking hurts when you force the ghost to do real work, like trying to mentally calculate 17 times 24, or trying to hold a string of numbers in your head while simultaneously adding 3 to each of them on a rhythmic beat. Your body physically reacts. Your heart rate spikes. You begin to produce microscopic amounts of sweat. And most incredibly, your pupils dilate widely. If a researcher looks at your eyes while you do complex mental arithmetic, they can literally see exactly how hard your brain is working, and they can watch your pupils physically shrink the exact millisecond you find the answer or give up. Thinking is a high-energy, biologically stressful state. Evolution designed you to avoid it. If your ancestors spent all their energy doing deep philosophy in the bushes, they would have starved or been eaten. So we evolved to rely on the machine, but in the modern world, this biological laziness is being weaponized against you. Remember the bat and ball problem? Researchers did an experiment where they gave that exact problem to college students. When it was printed normally, 85% of the students got it wrong. But then the researchers did something weird. They printed the exact same test in an ugly, blurry, hard-to-read font with terrible contrast. The failure rate dropped to 35%. Let that sink in. Making the test harder to read made the students significantly smarter. Why? Because when the machine looked at the blurry, ugly font, it couldn't instantly process it. The pattern was broken. The machine threw an error code and kicked the problem upstairs to the ghost. The ghost was forced to wake up, squint at the paper, and actually read the words. And because the ghost was already awake, it simply did the math, caught the trap, and got the right answer. Confusion forced consciousness. Advertisers and educators are starting to figure this out. Traditional advertising tries to make things as easy to understand as possible, a catchy jingle, a bright logo, but that just allows the machine to instantly filter it out as garbage. You don't even see it. So some brilliant advertisers have started creating completely confusing, contextless campaigns. Billboards with just 2 letters on them. Commercials that make absolutely no sense. Your machine can't filter it, so your ghost wakes up and says, "Wait, what is that?" The same applies to your education and your life. We love the feeling of cognitive ease. We love watching neatly packaged video essays that make us feel like we are learning. We love GPS navigating us to our destination. We love repeating the exact same tasks we already know how to do. It gives us a dopamine rush of competence without requiring a single drop of actual mental sweat. You get the sensation of understanding without actually learning anything. If you actually want to get smarter, if you want to master a skill or genuinely understand the world, you have to wage a continuous war against your own biology. You have to intentionally seek out confusion. You have to put away the GPS and get lost. You have to read the complex book instead of the summarized article. You have to practice the instrument so slowly and deliberately that it is physically frustrating. You have to accept that true learning is always going to feel a little bit like suffering, because the moment you are comfortable, the moment you feel like everything is clicking effortlessly, you aren't thinking anymore. The ghost has gone back to sleep. The machine has taken the wheel, and you are back to being a meat zombie. Wake up. The choice is yours. Assuming, of course, you're the one making it.